Tonight, a Lewisport doctor says he and his family face racist abuse so bad they might just leave. Those allegations have the Premier weighing in, and here's what else is making news tonight.
Well, construction of the new hospital in Corner Brook is finally complete, and we get a look inside some of the rooms today. But the building is not opening to the public until spring or summer of 2024. I'll have a lot more tonight on Here and Now.
Newfoundland Power wants to charge customers more, but the consumer advocate says he'll do everything he can to stop that.
They don't need anything further from the ratepayers of this province.
I'll tell you more coming up.
A lot of people aren't so eager to welcome Christmas into their hearts this early into November, but 3 locally made movies are airing on the Hallmark network, and that is something that is great news for the local film industry.
The first one that aired on November 2nd, the My Christmas Guide, actually had 1.09 million viewers live watching it.
I try to be chill about it, but it's a dream come true, and I'm just so happy.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now, and let's get straight to our top story. A doctor in Lewisport says he and his family have been dealing with racism and discrimination for the last 2 years, and it's reached the point where they may have to leave. Dr. Gurgis Ambarak says his daughter has faced racism, bullying, and discrimination, and now an alleged physical assault at school. He alleges the school notified him yesterday that his daughter was badly hurt by another student. Ambarak came to Canada from Egypt. Both he and his wife are family doctors. Now he says he's taking time off from the clinic in Lewisport while they decide what to do next.
We opening the door in the morning, we find a lot of flowers in front. We find a lot of cookies in front. We don't know from who. Sometimes they write their name, sometimes they not. More than 1,000 messages over my messenger. I can't answer all of them because all of it full of love. If I will spend all of my life to react to this life, it will not be, for this love, it will not be enough. That's why if they will secure a good environment to my daughter, and I feel safe that she will not be abused anymore by these students or others, yes, for sure.
The RCMP in Lewisport have laid an assault charge against a youth in relation to the incident. Now, we can't identify the student because of their age, but CBC has spoken to their father, who says the incident wasn't related to racism, that it was an altercation that got out of hand. We're also protecting that man's identity.
Once social media gets involved and someone goes on that avenue, it becomes hard because then all the public gets involved. Everybody has an opinion or a view. Things get blown out of proportion. It just gets, you know, it's gone absolutely insane how far out of proportion this whole situation has gotten. And, you know, it's like I said, it's something we're dealing with one day at a time in regards to the social media and how everything is playing out.
Now, the town of Lewisport is responding, saying it prides itself on being safe and inclusive for everyone. In a statement, the town says it stands against all forms of racism, stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination, and that it's working to eliminate those barriers and inequities in the community.
My message, certainly to his family and the other families involved, would be that we are supportive. We endeavor to you know, make things better in this community. We want to be part of the resolution. We want to talk to you about, you know, what are the barriers and challenges you're facing? What is our role as a municipality, and how do others, what other impact does this have? How does the health authority, where does that fit? And so all those pieces we're willing to converse about, and certainly we want to make sure that young people feel safe in their environment here.
Now, the province's Medical Association and the College of Family Physicians are also weighing in. Both are saying they're deeply troubled by the incident. The groups say racism, harassment, and violence has no place in the healthcare system or in our communities and must not be tolerated. Both are calling on the school board to investigate. Now, this story has captured the Premier's attention as well. Here's what he had to say today.
The first thing I did this morning before I got on the plane was to phone him and express my concern for him and his family, my support for him and his family, and wanted to make sure that he knew that the government of Newfoundland and Labrador condemns hate and racism in any form. and I wanted to assure him that we would be there to support him and his family during what has to be a troubling time.
Dr. Mbarak says he loves the community of Lewisport, but he'll take the next week to rest and decide his next steps. While in other news, the Single Parent Association says the need for support is growing. The organization is facing skyrocketing demands as the cost of living keeps climbing. As Here Now's Heather Gillis reports, the group says more and more families are being pushed into the margins.
We see firsthand here at the Single Parents Association the direct need.
Danielle Seward says the need for help is up all across the province. It's why the Single Parents Association is welcoming the province's new poverty reduction plan. Last year, food bank hampers from the organization fed 900 kids each month, a record they're on track to exceed this year. Seward is seeing an alarming number of new faces every week, people who, as little as 6 months ago, could pay for their own groceries.
What we're seeing is just the change in poverty, not just being what it was even as early as 12 months ago. It's evolving, and more people are coming into that poverty line than ever before.
And she says weekly food bank appointments are always full with a wait list.
I guess the big thing, too, is having stuff for kids of all ages.
But it's the association's Christmas registration that shows just how many families are in need. Seward says the increase is dramatic.
However, demand for Christmas magic this year has completely skyrocketed. In the first 20 minutes that we opened registration this year, we had nearly 250 families across Newfoundland and Labrador apply. To put that in perspective, the organization supplied 420 families throughout the entire holiday season of 2022. Right now, we've gone well over 600 families, and we've had to start a wait list.
The group is already collecting items from toys to pajamas and things for parents.
Pajamas. We make sure the parents are taken care of as well. So we ask for a $25 gift card from donors.
It all adds up to a heavy lift for the association at a time when so many people are feeling the squeeze and donations are down.
So to hear that donations may be down by 40% as a charitable industry this year is concerning when our demand is doubling.
Meanwhile, Danielle Seward says the province's poverty reduction plan is off to a good start. She was happy to see an expansion of school lunch programs because she says lunch items are the biggest need from their food bank. Meanwhile, she'd like to see more from government with respect to employment and skills upgrading because she says that way people can lift themselves out of poverty and become self-sufficient. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Newfoundland Power wants to hike its rates 7% for both residential and commercial ratepayers over the next 2 years. But the province's consumer advocate is pushing back, saying the company can't justify those increases. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
Businesses like this one are struggling to keep prices down as the cost of everything it buys increases. The owner of this bakery doesn't think a rate increase is acceptable.
I think it's ludicrous that they're actually charging the ratepayers more when they clearly make such a huge profit as it is.
If Newfoundland Power gets a 1.5% increase next year and then another 5.5% increase the year after that, then the Old Dublin Bakery will see its costs jump by about $700.
Electricity is our actual biggest utility. We're lucky enough to not have the mortgage here, but the thing is, utilities are 10 grand a year, which is real money.
Newfoundland Power says it needs more money because its costs have increased. It also says it needs to upgrade aging infrastructure to help withstand frequent and more powerful storms. The consumer advocate doesn't buy it.
What they are really seeking is more money and profit for the company.
Brown says the company's profits are already up and ratepayers have already paid for the company's infrastructure upgrades.
Their profit margin year over year went from 30 million to 32.5 million. So they've made 2.5 more million this year than in the previous year. Furthermore, electricity sales are up. So they're doing very, very well. And they're not entitled to any increase whatsoever. Ratepayers are already paying for all the infrastructure at a rate in excess of $100 million a year.
Dennis Brown says he'll go before the Public Utilities Board to oppose what the company's looking for. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, Here Now received a response from Newfoundland Power. It says Dennis Brown is incorrect when he says ratepayers have already paid for infrastructure upgrades, and the proposed rate changes is solely to increase profits. It went on to say a significant portion of its assets were built in the 1960s and 70s and will need to be replaced. Well, construction on the 7-story hospital in Corner Brook is now finally complete. Keys to the facility are now in the hands of the Health Authority and equipment can start moving in. But as Here Now's Colleen Connors reports, the new Western Memorial Hospital will not be opening its doors just yet.
The construction phase is complete. Government leaders and health officials gathered for the first time at Corner Brook's new hospital to exchange keys, or key.
Our physicians and staff take enormous pride, as do I, in the work that they do every day.
A big day for many here. Construction started in 2019, based on a promise made back in 2007 by the Williams government, a replacement for the then aging hospital.
This is exciting. This is a remarkable day for the people of the Western region and for our staff and clinicians who have been committed to making this a reality for years.
So for the surgical unit, we've got the Braille.
It's more modern. Each patient will have their own room, bathroom, and new imaging technology where this screen will be used to view scan results, order dinner, and select a TV show.
Movies and TV.
This is what many have been waiting for, the new radiation unit that government promised, eliminating the need for West Coast patients to travel to St. John's for treatment. It's expected to be up and running by next spring or summer, which is how long it will take to train staff and move equipment in, while still operating out of the soon-to-be-old hospital.
We have some support from some external consultants who do this all over the world, and they're guiding us through it step by step. We have project managers who are dedicated to this piece of the work.
The dialysis unit has doubled in size. The cancer care space for chemo treatments is spacious, bright. But the new space comes with old problems, long wait times and lack of doctors.
So we've already have, I think, the healthiest recruitment and retention package across the entire country, and it's already started to pay dividends. We've seen up to 80 doctors, new doctors in the system alone since announcing this package. We've taken a very aggressive approach to recruitment and retention.
And, the Premier says, doctors will be attracted to this new state-of-the-art facility. Now that the pictures are over and everyone got a tour of the new building, the real work begins. Well, seeing how there's been an official exchange of keys, staff can now get all that equipment out of storage and start moving it to all 7 floors where it needs to go. That work starts on Monday. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Another unsettled day across the province. The reason for that, an area of low pressure offshore still hanging around that is keeping things unsettled for most of us. We do have a ridge of high pressure, though, to the north up across Labrador. So areas like northern Labrador and the west will see some sunshine, it looks like, for the next couple of days. But we do have lots of snow still on the west coast, and some showers making their way or flurries making their way across central portions of the Avalon as well. But for tomorrow, Remembrance Day forecast at about 11 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, or late morning, I should say. We're still going to see those breezy winds pretty much all along the northeast coast, and that's because of that area of low pressure. So we're still talking between 40 and 60 kilometer per hour wind gusts. Chance of flurries sticks around as well. We may see a few showers for eastern areas of the island as well as the south. The best chance of seeing the sun will be in southwestern portions of the province as well as up through portions of Labrador. But it is going to be snowy for the next couple of days from Green Bay, White Bay through to Bonavista North. I'll break that down for you coming up.
After more than a decade in politics and 2 stints as PC leader, David Brazel announced today that he's leaving provincial politics. Brazel was first elected as an MHA in 2010 in a by-election, and he briefly served as a cabinet minister starting in 2014. He says the main reason he's leaving is his health. He needs physio to improve his heart, which he said is hard to do on a politician's schedule.
A sincere thank you, particularly during my health situation. The thousands who reached out, I appreciate that, to my constituents who, for the last year, didn't put as much pressure on me to do things because they knew the situation. So, but again, to my colleagues, that I've had in the House of Assembly, the present ones, the past ones I've served with, and I've served with a multitude of great leaders in Newfoundland and Labrador that I can proudly say that are my friends.
Well, love them or maybe loathe them, Hallmark's yearly holiday TV takeover is in full swing. And you might recognize a few people. Fireside Pictures made 3 Christmas movies for the American network earlier this year, and they've been making their debut. 2 have already aired, and another one is yet to come. Our very own Hallmark movie lover, Jeremy Eaton, brings us more.
If you take a quick look around, you'll see there isn't even snow on the ground yet. But thanks to 3 locally made movies for the Hallmark network, it appears Christmas has come early for the local film industry. Now, this is something that you might not have known about, so let me tell you.
What if there was a town where it's Christmas all year? Sounds like my kind of place.
3 of the movies were shot in 3 different months. One was in January. We actually shot right here at Colonial Building in a blizzard with 40 background performers, our local actors, as well as our away actors who are not used to the weather. But then we've also shot a movie in May in Bannerman Park with absolutely no snow, and we faked it. We reached out to fish plants to get snow trucked in so we could make Bannerman Park look like a winter wonderland.
Trevor, this is about your safety and being there for Annie.
I think I could get used to this.
There's something there.
The first one that aired on November 2nd, the My Christmas Guide, actually had 1.09 million viewers live watching it. And it's the 2nd highest rated on that channel.
You like this guy.
Oh, are we going to be buddies?
Hashtag Krista and Ryan stake out Christmas.
Within the 3 Christmas movies, we've had 25 local actors play some sort of role in these movies. Justin is fantastic. We always joke that he's Mr. Hallmark, but we've also had the opportunity to work with Bridget Wareham, who's been on Rex, Pete Soucy, Snook. I mean, that's so cool. We've also had big actors from away come in, and their interaction with the local actors is it's really nice to see. And our background performers, 3 movies, over 250 local background performers.
I believe you've met the mayor. The first one, I think, got a lot of attention, but the dog lovers. But this one, because it's a Christmas movie, people are crazy about the Christmas movies. And it's amazing to see how many people are out there making TikTok reviews and getting lots of views and lots of passion in their responses. I know it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but we still have the news to do. And I got some great little commercials that kicked around out there, and Hudson Rags, Son of a Critch, Rolka Doyle, they've all, Surreal Estate, they all gave me my moment, and I couldn't be more grateful. But it's often 1 or 2 days, and so when these came, it was like a longer time to develop a character and to get into that. It was a dream come true. I try to be chill about it, but it's a dream come true, and I'm just so happy.
All right, what do we have here? Not exactly trending, is it?
It's been a great opportunity to sort of stretch all of these things and play on camera, which is a gift you don't get very often. And so, yes, obviously, I would absolutely welcome, and I'm manifesting the opportunity to continue this. If this is where it ends, wow.
Now, if you're looking to catch one of these made-for-TV movies, Everything Christmas airs tonight on the W Network at 9:30 in Newfoundland. That's 9 o'clock in most of Labrador.
A window of war in a place of peace. We're going to examine some beautiful stained glass and its history here at the Kirk.
The congregation decided that they would have a war memorial window to commemorate all those who were killed in the First World War.
That's coming up.
Well, the temperatures are going to stay chilly this weekend. We've also got quite a bit of snow on the way for parts of the island. I'll break it all down for you when I come back in a few minutes.
the Warrant Officer and Sergeant's Memorial on Queen's Road. For the first time in a century, this will be the site for the main Remembrance Day ceremony in St. John's.
We are kind of going back in history. This is a beautiful, historic war memorial also, so I think it's appropriate.
While the National War Memorial on Duckworth Street undergoes a major refurbishment. It's one of many Remembrance Day ceremonies taking place throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm Terry Roberts, and I'll be hosting a live Remembrance Day radio special. Tune in to CBC Radio 1 or the CBC Listen app tomorrow, beginning at 10:55 a.m. Island Time.
Actually, lots of people getting in the Christmas spirit with those Christmas movies. And it sounds like Mother Nature is also getting into the spirit with a little bit of snow for some of us.
Yeah, it certainly is. Temperatures are starting to drop, from where they have been over the past little bit. I know we've been seeing those double-digit temperatures or pretty close to for eastern areas of the island, but that is pretty much over for now. We're down to 4 degrees as our daytime high today. You head towards central, even colder, and then up across Labrador, even more so, about -4 in Lab City. That was the afternoon high today. And if you head towards the coast, or at least southeastern portions of Labrador, your temperatures are hovering around 2 degrees today. If we take a look at where we are now, temperatures dropping a little bit too in St. John's. You feel the wind chill feels more like -4, and we've got those wind chills closer to about -10 in Lab City. Same thing for northern portions of Labrador, and in and around the minus single digits pretty much all along the northeast coast, and that's because our winds have been quite high. And they'll stay that way, stay breezy for the next couple of days. And that's because the area of low pressure that has been our weather maker is still very much in play weather-wise. If we take a look at the snow, rain right now, we've got some onshore flurries happening along the west coast of the island. Lots of snow up across portions of the Green Bay, White Bay area, Bayvert Peninsula, and then some showers and or flurries still happening in and around the Avalon as well. If I stop the radar picture, you can see it there. Most of what is falling on the Avalon in the higher elevations, you may be seeing some wet flurries in the mix, but that's pretty much the story over the next couple of days. Certainly as we head through tonight, note the winds as well. They're going to stay gusting anywhere from about 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Most of the northeast coast is where we're going to see the snow, particularly from the Bayvert Peninsula through to Bonavista North, where we have been seeing quite a bit of significant accumulation. And through the night tonight, you may just see those flurries continue, especially for the west coast. And maybe through parts of central as well as coastal areas of Labrador. Temperatures tonight are going to hover around the 0 degree, maybe a degree or two more than that. But again, those north winds anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. The cooler temperatures, the more west you head, especially north. Nain, you have been seeing some fairly nice weather as far as clear skies is concerned, and that trend will continue as you continue to sit under that ridge of high pressure. As we head into tomorrow, especially around Remembrance Day ceremony time, we're still looking at those cooler temperatures, still looking at the winds gusting anywhere from 50 to 70 kilometers per hour all along the northeast coast, and that potential for snow as well. Best chance of snow, though, will be from the Bayvert Peninsula and then through to Bonavista North. That looks like the most consistent area of snow, but don't be surprised to see some either showers or flurries in the mix for really anywhere across the province. But the best place of seeing some sunshine will be along the south coast of the island through the day tomorrow. Now, as far as the weather is concerned, as we get into the overnight into Sunday morning, things will finally start to ease off, and we'll see that area of low pressure pull away, which will drop the winds as well. As far as snowfall accumulations go, this takes us through to Sunday morning. Highest showing somewhere around maybe 5 to 10, 10 to 15 in some of those higher elevations, particularly Bonavista North, where it looks like the bullseye, and then higher elevations on the west coast as well. That's the best chance of seeing those higher accumulations. Temperatures tomorrow are going to be around 1 to about 3 or 4 degrees, pretty much across the board. Those northwest winds breezy, not so much on the west coast, though. Northwesterlies will be gusting around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. And then for Labrador, other than the coast, where temperatures will be around 1 to maybe 3 or 4 degrees, temperatures should be below 0. You'll hover around -6 for Nain. Again, some sunshine in store for you. But the good thing is that the snow especially along the coast and through central portions of Labrador, will eventually end. Actually looking at a pretty nice couple of days looking forward. Peter?
Thanks so much, Ashley. It's a shame the weather won't be nicer for Remembrance Day tomorrow, but
that's true.
It always seems to be wet, sort of drizzly, I guess, a very somber mood, at least, if you want to look at it in a positive way.
Yeah.
This is our war memorial window here at St. Andrews, and it's a memorial to those who died in the First World War, was unveiled in May of 1922.
If you look at each of the different segments and panels of the window, what strikes you as significant?
It's a memorial to those who have died, and in the center panel particularly, there's the kneeling soldier with the broken sword, which can be interpreted as having done his duty during the war. And it's surmounted by three angels with incredibly beautiful colors that stand out, particularly on a warm summer day with the sun filtering into through it. It's beautiful.
How do you explain the dates attributed to the First World War in the glass here?
So the memorial at the bottom, 1914 to 1919, after doing some research, that's been attributed, although we consider that the war ended on November the 11th, 1918. When they were making a lot of the war memorials early in the 1920s, they considered the end of the war to be the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, which didn't occur to 1919. So that explains what appears to be an extra year.
As a member of this congregation and as a person who appreciates beauty, what do you find aesthetically pleasing when you look at this?
James Ballantyne, who was the Scottish stained glass artist who made the stained glass, had an incredible sense of color. And this is painted on the glass. And his sense of color, the bright colors that he was able to use, and although it was installed in 1922, here 100 years later, those colors are still just as vibrant and lively as they were when they were put in place at that time.
Can you tell me about the connections, the Scottish connections between the glass, which was the window which was made by a man from Scotland, and the Highlanders who are commemorated here in this particular church?
Certainly. James Ballantyne came over and personally installed the glass. And the reason he stated was that he had a friend who was listed on one of our memorial plaques. And although there's no definite proof, we believe this to be Gilbert Thomas Gordon, who was a member of this congregation but had trained as a lawyer in Edinburgh where James Ballantyne was. And although Gilbert Thomas Gordon joined the Newfoundland Regiment in 1914, when he went overseas, he transferred to do officer training with the Gordon Highlanders. So he and James Ballantyne most likely trained as officers together. And when unfortunately Gilbert Thomas Gordon was killed, Ballantyne came over then as a tribute to him and helped install our memorial window.
What are your thoughts about how a commemorative work of art like this resonates in 2023, given what's going on in the world these days?
Well, I think the most important thing, a couple of things, is that we have to remember those who lost their lives, those who were killed during the wars. But I think we have to do that for all wars. And I think it needs a war memorial really as a reminder that wars are continuing today, and we need to strive even harder today with conflicts throughout the world as a symbol of peace. That war memorials really are to remind us that peace is the goal, and we need to strive as much as possible to set up a plan for peace in the world, whether that's Ukraine, the Middle East, or anywhere else.
Thanks to On the Go's Anthony Germain for that. Now, the Kirk will be open tomorrow after the Remembrance ceremony, so if you're interested in seeing that War Memorial window, it's just west of the Warrant Officers and Sergeants Memorial on Queen's Road in St. John's, where tomorrow's ceremony is going to take place.
I'm Michael Connors, and I've written a book about the history of the press gallery here at the House.
Hold on a second, this isn't your show. I'm Peter Cowan, and I'll be chatting with Michael Connors about his book and some of the lessons we can learn about tensions between the media and the politicians. That's coming up on Here and Now. Lots of books have been written about the politicians who've debated issues here in the House of Assembly, but not so many books about the people who've been up here in the press gallery. Well, there's a new book that's just out. It's called Admit Strangers, and it's written by Michael Connors. Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Why did you want to write a book about the history of the press gallery in this province?
I never imagined I would, but to some degree it fell into my lap. Of course, as you remember, back in 2016, I became the president of the press gallery, which was kind of a liaison between all the reporters like you and the Speaker's office. And when that happened, I inherited 2 boxes filled with old records of press gallery files dating back about 50 years. And I even got a call from the Speaker's office at one point saying that the cleaners had found some old papers in our press office and put them in these boxes. So I said I would take a look. And as I went through them, I realized like there was some really interesting stuff in there, like meetings that happened with Brian Peckford in the 1980s and with Frank Moores in the 70s, and even records of a meeting that happened with Joey Smallwood, the last living father of Confederation. I realized I'm actually sitting on legitimate historical documents here. So I guess I was just trying to figure out, okay, what do I do with these now? There was kind of a body of knowledge in there that maybe current day reporters don't really know that was worth sharing. So I did what journalists do and wrote it down into a story.
So, as the current president of the press gallery, I'm interested in this story. You know, lots of reporters and probably even some politicians will be interested. But what do you think is in there for just regular people who may follow politics and the media day to day?
Well, it does share some interesting stories about key moments in provincial history. I mean, it's not about like the big moments in provincial history. It's more about the reporters who covered them at given times and how the press gallery managed those issues. But you know, things come up like you know, in the book, you know, there was you know, a bar in the press gallery. You know, as part of the legend of the press gallery. There actually used to be like a bar selling drinks up here, and even
not anymore. Just let's
not
be
anymore.
clear.
No,
Yeah.
that was kicked out a long time ago. The press gallery itself voted to eliminate it. And then, of course, you know, in the 1960s, back in 1969, very shortly after the Press Gallery Association was founded, after a meeting and an agreement with the Speaker of the House, they had 2 offices they were given custody of on the 10th floor where the house used to be, on the 9th and 10th floors. Shortly after that, Joey Smallwood actually took the offices away for government workers, which raised interesting questions about, you know, the relationship between the legislative branch and the executive branch and whose territory was whose. And then finally, the big climactic moment happened in the 1980s when there was a strike at the former radio station Q Radio, which led to an internal dispute over the authority of the Press Gallery Association, and the Speaker was called in to make a ruling. And what became evident from the Speaker's ruling was that the institutional memory from the late 60s when the Press Gallery Association was founded had kind of been forgotten, and that led to problems in resolving that issue, which again spoke to the reason why I thought this needed to be written down so at least there'd be a record somewhere.
One of the interesting things about the book is the tension between politicians and the people who cover them has been there through the generations and through various forms of government. What sort of lessons can you take away from that history, especially today when you look at, for example, you know, the Federal Conservative Party doesn't have great relations with the Press Gallery in Ottawa, you know, and what we can learn from some of those conflicts of the past?
Well, it seems like the Press Gallery here, it's very small, and so like the very small media market compared to Ottawa, where you've got hundreds of reporters, would give a kind of institutional heft to the organization, and it just, I guess it speaks to, you know, how this press gallery has evolved at times to be very structured and has been able to make kind of united approaches to dealing with these issues with politicians, and then at times it's become very small and very informal and has been less able to do so. So I guess as a lesson, it speaks to why there does need to be some sort of structure in order to kind of manage these issues so the media can make united approaches if needed from time to time.
Well, thanks so much for chatting with me about it, and good luck with the book.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Battle Harbour, Labrador is a world-class tourist destination. Land and Sea was there when the work began. Watch this archival special Sunday at 11:30 and Monday at 7.
Schools across the province marked Remembrance Day early this week ahead of the long weekend. Here Now's Aoife Alba stopped by Mary Queen of Peace's Assembly in St. John's, which was led by the grade 5s.
So, what is Remembrance Day?
Remembrance Day is about like a day where we get to remember the people who fought for our country and saved us and made peace in our country.
Remembrance Day is a time to remember the people who fought in the war. It's important to me because the soldiers who risked their lives for us so we could have peace and freedom in our country.
Why do we wear poppies?
Poppies are red like blood, so they use that to represent Remembrance Day.
On Remembrance Day, how should we honor the people that fought and died?
We can go to memorials, we can take a minute of silence, we can sing, we can do a lot of things.
We should honor them by going to the memorials and placing a poppy on their tombstone and taking the moment of silence just to remember them. We go down to the Remembrance Day parades and we wear our poppies and like we can sing songs. Thank you for fighting for our freedom, and even if you lose your life, you fought it for us.
Weekend AM's First Listen series is all about sitting down with local musicians for a chat and a listen to their latest work. This weekend on CBC Radio, Tim Baker joins host Heather Barrett in studio to talk about his new EP. Here's a little preview for you.
Tim Baker has warmed the hearts of fans for many years as the lead singer for Hey Rosetta and in his career as a solo artist. And Tim is comfortable with showing his sensitive side. And you can hear that on his latest release. It's an EP called Along the Mountain Road. And it's a 5-song collection that's a companion to his full-length album, The Festival. And Tim Baker joins me in studio right now for a first listen. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Heather.
Lovely to have you in the Weekend AM
Lovely to
studio.
be here. Thank you.
Now, you call this EP a companion to The Festival, your other most recent release. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
It was recorded around the same time, and it could have made a gigantic album, but I decided to sort of split it apart. Not by music so much as sort of what the songs were talking about and the sort of themes of it. So, The Festival and Along the Mountain Road, all these recordings were sort of made mid-pandemic and written sort of early pandemic. And so a lot of it is there's some existential dread and frustration and talking about isolation a lot, but there's also another whole vein of songs that are sort of about my relocation from Toronto to St. John's, back to St. John's, and the two weren't like mixing very well on the main record, and so this EP is basically those songs, that side of what I was writing about at that time.
You're based here in Newfoundland now.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So how is that working for you and what you're doing with your music and your career?
It's working out great. Yeah, okay. I mean, I love it here. You know, it's where I've written. I'm in my old house. I've had my house now since the very beginning of Hey Rosetta, since before the band, really. And I've written almost every song, you know, on that piano and in that house, and it's home, you know.
Well, you can tune into Weekend AM this Sunday morning on CBC Radio at 8 o'clock Island time to hear Heather's full interview with Tim Baker. That's half an hour earlier in most parts of Labrador. You'll also get a taste of Tim's new music when Wham plays a few of his songs from the new AP, Along the Mountain. It's almost the weekend. Time to recognize a few people who are celebrating, starting with a big anniversary. Happy 67th wedding anniversary to Kay and Jim Cashin. Happy 60th anniversary to Art and Ivy Bath of Lassie. Happy 50th anniversary going out to Jerry and Brenda Taylor of Roberts R. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Francis and Rowena Pierce of Boyd's Cove. Happy 65th wedding anniversary to Reg and Nettie Kendall of Morrisville Bay d'Espoir. Happy anniversary to Dubsy and Patsy Hardy of Port aux Basques, who are celebrating their 50th. Donald and Elsie Hurd are celebrating 68 years of marriage. Congratulations. Happy 60th anniversary to Agnes and Lawrence Hunt of Harbour Grace. Happy 59th anniversary to Lloyd and Mary Ellen Glover of Wareham, Bonavista Bay. Happy 61st wedding anniversary to William and Mary Jordan of Harbour Grace. Happy 55th wedding anniversary to Stanley and Elizabeth Barber of Brooklyn. Happy 54th wedding anniversary to Neville and Marie Lockyer of Mount Pearl. It's a 50th wedding anniversary for Weldon and Valerie Peddle of Mount Pearl. Happy anniversary to Wayne and Lillian Pittman of Gander, celebrating 50 years of marriage. Happy 55th anniversary to Clarence and Irene Shears of Happy Valley Goose Bay. Floyd and Olga Shears from Rocky Harbor celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary this week. Big congratulations to you two. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Marilyn and Ivan White of Seal Cove, Conception Bay South. Happy 50th anniversary to Davis and Shirley Hull from Springdale, now living in Milton, Ontario. Happy 59th anniversary to Calvin and Stella Ledrew of Twillingate. Gilbert and Loretta Easton of Bay Verte are celebrating 51 years of marriage. Happy 50th anniversary going out to Frank and Teresa Hodder of Marystown. Happy 59th anniversary to Hayward and Ruby Legg of Cavendish. Ed and Diane Wade of St. John's are celebrating their 50th anniversary. 60th wedding anniversary greetings going out to Gilbert and Rita Bursey. Happy 53rd anniversary to Barbara and Frank Brown of Happy Valley Goose Bay. They're originally from Tax Beach. Happy 51st anniversary to George and Leela Wheeler from Grand Falls, Windsor. So now to some birthdays. Happy birthday to Emma Roberts of Spaniards Bay, celebrating her 90th birthday. Happy 91st birthday going out to Cecil Dix in Grand Bank. Happy 90th birthday to Lucy Burton from North Harbour, St. Mary's Bay. Elsa Lisa Hurd is celebrating her 90th birthday on November 15th. Happy 93rd birthday to Lydia Collier of Rose Blanche. Happy 93rd birthday going out to Andrew Norman of Long Harbour. 93rd birthday greetings going out to Russell Avery from Deep Bite, currently living in Bonavista. 90th birthday greetings going out to Evelyn Butt of Springdale. Birthday greetings to Marie Burton of Springdale, celebrating her 90th birthday. Happy 90th birthday to Mildred Brenson, formerly of Loon Bay, now living in Browns Arm. And we're going to end with a big one. Happy 102nd birthday to Kezia Locke. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, so if anyone was planning an outdoor party, Saturday is definitely out. Does Sunday get any better for our weekend forecast?
It does. It actually looks a lot better considering what we've been dealing with weather-wise for the last little bit. Let's take a look at what's going on. The area of low pressure is finally going to move further offshore, at least loosen its grip on the province. So we should actually see some peaks of sun in the mix, which will be nice, especially towards coastal areas of Labrador, maybe the southeast, and then potentially even along the northeast coast of the island as well. The winds will also let up a little bit. That will be nice considering it has been fairly windy for the last little bit. Likely still going to see some lingering flurries, at least for the first half of the day. Then conditions should improve. But overall, daytime highs are still going to stay quite chilly, anywhere from about -1 on the west coast to between 0 and about +2 for the rest of the island. Labrador, you're looking at a fairly nice day. You may see a few flurries in the mix, but overall some sunshine. Best chance of seeing those flurries will be in Lab City. Your daytime highs will hover anywhere from about -4 to about the 0 degree mark for your Sunday. Now, as we head into Monday, similar story, in fact, a little bit better as far as the weather is concerned. Likely still some flurries, though, west coast, north, all along the northeast coast, and then coastal areas of Labrador will see those flurries as well. Pretty much right through the day. We may see some clearing late day, but overall, it will be a little bit better as far as the forecast is concerned. Still showing a little bit of flurry activity, but overall, that's about it. Temperatures not really moving much either. Still hovering somewhere between -1 and about +3, the best chance of that warmer air, relatively warmer air, will be on the southwest coast. And across Labrador, anywhere from about 0 to about -6. And the coolest temperatures will be in Lab City with that temperature. Now, if we take a look at the long-range forecast, temperatures really not moving too much, if not going down a little bit. Monday, we're still looking at that chance of flurries, just a few, like I said. By Tuesday, we may see some sunshine, but still going to hang on to that chance of flurries. And that will be the story right into Wednesday. So between 0 and about +2. Overnight lows dipping anywhere from 0 to about -3. And then for central Newfoundland, your long-range forecast, pretty nice. Through Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll return to those flurries. And your daytime highs between 0 and about +1. And then same thing for western Newfoundland. And then for eastern Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures dipping as we get into the middle of next week, around -5 by the time we get into Wednesday, and unsettled conditions will continue in Lab West, especially as we get into Wednesday. Our weather photo of the day is a nice shot of Government House. Nice photo there, the fall colors. Caleb shared this lovely shot with us, and I know a lot of these, this must have been earlier in the week because the wind has done a number on the leaves and most of them are gone, but we'll hang on to whatever fall we have left.
Well, either that or the busy grounds people at Government House have been busy sweeping them up because there's a lot of raking to do there.
Absolutely. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, the best place to do that would be send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Yeah, and the last little bit of the fall leaves. When I was up at Confederation Building today, you get kind of a view over the city. You know, some of the trees still have a few leaves on them, but
I think,
it's quickly slipping into kind of the browny gray season, which is not aided by, precipitation. And
yeah, and then that's when you really want the first, nice snowfall.
When we all realize how many people forgot how to drive in snow.
It's true.
I guess you're the glass half full, I'm the glass half empty.
That is very true.
And that's it for us. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Good night.